name's Wesley Littlefield, and today I'm going to go over some pros and cons of my Mud Twister kit, as well as my motor. It's a Harbor Freight motor, 6.5 horse. So let's get to it. As far as the kit goes, I really don't have many complaints. I've hit stumps with it. I've ran it really shallow, and it's ran really great. As far as the kit part, not the motor, we'll talk about that. The one complaint I would have is the twist throttle handle. I have to run an extension because it's a little heavy for my kayak, and so it's too short. So I've run an extension, and my extension I've had to either wrap electrical tape around the handle so it would grab and I could twist the throttle. And honestly, I mean, that's about it. Like I said, I don't have many complaints. It went together super smooth. I think we had a couple of issues with some bolts that just weren't quite clean threaded. They were a little catchy, whatever you want to call it. They had some nicks in them, and just cleaned those up and it went together great. But the motor. So first of all, it's a Harbor Freight motor, so it's on the cheaper end. And it's, like I said, a 6.5 horse, or the 212cc. And it's a pull start, so already it's not super tough to start, in all honesty. I mean, most of the time if I do it right, 2-3 pulls and it fires up and it goes, and usually for the rest of the day it's pretty good. However, it's really finicky with the oil level. I ran it for a little while and I had too much oil in it, and so the motor would cut out real bad, and you'd have to throttle it down, let it settle for a second, and then throttle back up, and it'd run for a little bit, and then just repeat the process over and over. So I came home and I drained out the oil, and it was running good. I get here today actually and go to put it in, and it fires up great, beautiful, and I'm thinking this is gonna be great. Stick it in the water, get to going, just real shallow, so it's bouncing off the bottom, and then once I hit deeper water and it sinks down, and it allows all that oil to go back away from the sensor, it kills it. And it kept doing it, kept doing it. Finally, it dawned on me that it was the sensor doing it. So I ran up to the truck, filled it with just too much oil again, but not as much as last time. And it ran great all the way here. We're about to find out if it runs great all the way back. I'm about 2.5 miles away from the truck. So could be a long paddle, but we'll have the wind at our back, so that could help. Hopefully we don't need the paddle. That's my hope. So that's my first complaint. And the biggest complaint, honestly, I think I can run nearly 2.5, 3. Well, I got here on one tank, and I could probably get almost halfway back, so probably closer to 3.5 or 4 miles. Probably not quite 4 miles on one tank. And the spark plug's a little iffy. I'd need to switch those out. But I mean, other than that, it's been getting the job done all summer long. I can't tell you, I probably don't have that many hours on it, but I've used it 4, 5, 6 times. So I probably got 4 hours on it, maybe, something like that. And I mean, it's left me stranded once, and that's it. So take that with a grain of salt. Part of it was my fault. Oh, the reason it left me stranded was not only the oil level sensor, but also it gets flooded extremely easy. So if you do not kill the fuel and then let it run itself out and kill itself, you don't turn off the switch, you don't pull the emergency switch, nothing like that, then you should be pretty good. But if you happen to kill it yourself and don't kill the fuel, it will flood it every single time. I've done that twice, and I tell myself every time now, kill it, let it run it out, and then start it up and go. I don't know if it's probably just because it's a cheaper motor and it still has a vacuum sucking that fuel in to the carburetor, and it floods it every time. And it's super frustrating when you're out here trying to get somewhere, or you know, in a hurry to get back, or it's super hot out here like it was that other day. But learn from my mistake. Don't let it get flooded. Kill it, or don't kill it. Kill the fuel and then let it run itself out, and you shouldn't have any problems. So I'll give you a little bit closer look at the motor and the kit here, and then we'll see how easy it is to start up. My top speed in this so far, just by myself with a little bit of fishing gear, has been 6 miles an hour. And that's one thing I forgot to mention in the pros, because that's way faster than I can paddle. All right, so we'll just start at the front here. Here's your throttle switch. You can hear the clicks. That's kind of nice. It's a little loose. I need to tighten that set screw up a little bit. But like I said, this is too small for my extended handle to actually grab onto and twist, so I've got to have a rubber or electrical tape. But other than that, I mean, shoot, it's awesome. Here's our emergency kill switch. You stick your little clip in. I don't have, it's on my life jacket over there. So you stick it up under here, and if it pulls, it kills the motor. Here is the motor. The all-important fuel valve. Kill it. As you can tell, it's in the off position now. Here's your choke. Pull start. Here's the throttle. Setting that up actually wasn't that hard. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult to set the throttle cable up for the twist handle, but it wasn't bad at all. It's the Predator, as you can see, the 212. Pull start. Here's the on-off switch. On, off. And I did a little painting on this because I'm going to use it duck hunting, so that's why everything's not as shiny as it would be. Here is one side of the oil, I don't know, insert, whatever, I don't know, I'm trying to think. It's the dipstick is what it is. And I really, I wish I could tell you what level to put it at. I had it flat, level, the motor actually level, not like it's set now, it's a little crooked now. But I had it level and filled it up to about midway of dipstick, and it wasn't enough. Today, I had it about level and filled it all the way to the top where it was tippy top, and it was enough to not set the sensor off, but it's still kind of spit and sputter a little bit, so it needs to drain just a little bit, I'm thinking, but very little. This screw right here is your trim. It only allows, you can see on the other end, that it only allows the motor to get pressed against this post right here so far, so you can set what depth you want to run it at. And I tried set it a little deeper, but that's when my fuel or oil was getting set off, so I had to raise it back up a little bit. As you come back, here's where the kit, this is still part of the kit, and it connects to the motor. And putting that on, like I said, it's what, 4 screws, nothing hard. Another 4 screws. This right here, you can see, is actually a grease zert. While I would prefer a regular zert, this you actually can just unscrew, and you can see the grease right there, and then you'll fill that up and then screw it back on, and just don't put a lot, you just don't do a lot, you just kind of tighten it down a little bit so you feel a little bit of pressure on it, and that keeps the shaft all the way down. It keeps it greased, and so it ain't rubbing and deteriorating any faster than it should. As you can tell, there's the prop and the guard. I've hit a few trees and stumps with it and just ran it in the mud and haven't had any problems breaking any of the prop at all yet. Knock on some wood. And then the rest of the motor on this side, as you can tell, it's just regular old full start motor like you'd put on a go-kart or a water pump or anything. I do put premium gas in it, but it says that you can do 10% ethanol, and I hadn't had a whole lot of problems. I got a little bit of water in my fuel one time, but that was my fault. And other than that, I mean, that's the rundown of the motor. So let's see just how easy it is to start. Kill switch, good. Make sure you're on the on position. Turn the fuel on. Almost, I didn't even have to choke it that time. It's been about 2 hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours since I've started it. So that's just a, you know, it's not cold start, but it is kind of a cold start. Like I said, it wasn't that hard to start. I had it running earlier, and I was smart enough to kill the fuel and let it run out first. Now, if I'm just gonna sit here like this for just a few minutes before I take off, I don't have to kill the fuel. But if it's gonna sit there for an hour, 2 hours or more, I kill the fuel just to be safe. And so far, it hadn't steered me wrong when I kill the fuel. Other than that, I mean, that's it, guys. If you're looking to put this on a kayak, on a small John boat, I highly recommend going with the kit. You can put a different motor on it. Actually, you can buy like an electric start Honda motor, which that'd be my next step, but it was a lot more expensive. But I highly recommend it. Those are the pros and cons of the kit and the motor itself. And thank you guys for watching. Go check out some of my other videos and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.